Mary Lou Williams, originally Mary Elfrida Scruggs, was born on May 8, 1910, in Atlanta, Georgia. While she was still very young, her family moved to Pittsburgh, where the musical prodigy grew up. At a young age, Mary's mother recalled her playing a song on the family's pump organ that she had only just heard. From this point on, music was a key part of Mary's life. She learned quickly through training by her mother with the help of her perfect pitch. By age 7, she was playing professionally under her stepfather's name. Her gigs started in small gambling dens, but Mary was once quoted talking about performing for the wealthy families in Pittsburgh, saying, "Around Pittsburgh, I played for many families, the Mellons in particular. I was just a kid. They were wonderful. They'd send a chauffeur out for me, and I'd play their private parties. Once they gave me $100. My mother almost fainted. She wanted to know if the lady drank. She even called the people to see if they had made a mistake." With a reputation as a great performer, it only took until age 13 before she reached the vaudeville stage. As a teenager, she began performing with the saxophonist John Williams. The two were married when Mary was only 16, giving her the name she used for the rest of her career, Mary Lou Williams. They moved to Memphis, where she made her debut on records with Cinco Jazzers. A few years later, they moved to Kansas City, where Mary Lou Williams would find herself in the center of the swing scene. Williams quickly joined Andy Kirk's band, Clouds of Joy, after filling in for their absent pianist. In addition to performing with the band throughout the 1930s, she also composed and arranged most of the group's music. Williams was soon recognized as Kirk's best soloist, as a stride pianist who impressed every person that heard her play. Her success meant that she was soon writing compositions and arrangements for other bandleaders like Tommy Dorsey, Earl Hines, Benny Goodman, and Duke Ellington. Mary divorced John Williams in 1940 and left Andy Kirk's band in 1942. Bebop was beginning to emerge in New York City, so Williams moved to Harlem to check it out. Her apartment became somewhat of a gathering place that was the home to many impromptu sessions with the likes of Charlie Parker, Dizzy Gillespie, Max Roach, Bud Powell, and Thelonious Monk, among many others. Shortly after moving to New York, she married Harold Shorty Baker, and the two formed a combo. The combo was short-lived, as Williams and Baker were quickly divorced. Williams then joined Ellington's band as its arranger, writing one of her top arrangements, Blue Skies, a 1946 Ellington classic. In 1943, Williams began playing at the Café Society in Greenwich Village, New York's first racially integrated jazz club. In 1946, her first large composition, Zodiac Suite, made its debut with the New York Philharmonic Orchestra at Carnegie Hall. Each of its 12 parts delivers a jazz interpretation of one of the zodiac signs. Around this time, Williams started a radio show called the Mary Lou Williams Piano Workshop. However, she quickly tired of this life and suddenly moved to Europe in 1950. There she found steady work in London and Paris nightclubs before suddenly walking off a Paris stage in 1954 and moving back to New York. Once back in New York, she publicly announced her retirement before starting a life of charity work. In 1957, she established the Bel Canto Foundation to help New York musicians battle substance abuse problems, while she personally ran the thrift shop that funded it. Around this time, Mary underwent a religious awakening, converting from Southern Baptist to Roman Catholicism. In 1957, Williams returned to the stage with Dizzy Gillespie at the Newport Jazz Festival. She founded a trio and her own record company, the first established by a woman, called Mary Records. In 1962, she released her cantata, Black Christ of the Andes. In 1969, she wrote the work Music for Peace, or as it is more commonly known, Mary Lou's Mass, which was commissioned by the Vatican. It was adapted for ballet by Alvin Ailey in 1971 and was performed at St. Patrick's Cathedral in Manhattan in 1975, marking history as the first jazz mass ever held there. In 1970, Williams released another influential recording entitled The History of Jazz. This recording transitioned back and forth from lecture to solo piano. Williams gave her own accounts of her time spent in jazz and demonstrated changes in style and rhythm on the keyboard. In the late years of her life, she became a jazz purist, speaking out strongly against modernist and rock influences on the genre. In 1977, she took a job at Duke University as an artist in residence, teaching jazz and piano to the next generation of musicians. In 1979, she was diagnosed with bladder cancer and gave her last performance in Tallahassee, Florida in 1980. Mary Lou Williams died just a few weeks after her 71st birthday on May 28, 1981, in Durham, North Carolina. She left behind more than 350 compositions and a legacy as one of the first women to succeed in jazz. In 1969, she wrote the work Music for Peace, or as it is more commonly known, Mary Lou's Mass. The piece you are about to listen to is one of Mary Lou Williams' first recordings, titled Nightlife. It was released in 1930. Mary attended the recording session with the intent of playing with a larger band, but they came unprepared. Frustrated with the band, the producer asked Williams to play a few piano solos, so she composed Nightlife almost entirely on the spot. The song's theme is 32-bar AABA and is played with a stride rhythm. This work shows Mary Lou Williams' incredible abilities on the piano, as well as highlighting her ability to compose masterful pieces of music. This, in turn, allows it to function as a wonderful glimpse into her illustrious career.
Williams' song Nightlife will now play.